welcome to The Traveling Introvert. Today I am going to talk about, do you have a disaster recovery plan? What happens when a virtual team member goes missing? And the reason I want to talk about this is I've seen this happen a couple times in various companies and they've all dealt with it in various ways. Now I know that working virtually, generally most of the time you possibly have someone's email address, whatever communication tool that we use within our working environment, be it Slack, ClickUp, Trello, whatever it might be, and maybe their LinkedIn profile. Very rarely do we have their phone number or maybe their Facebook, because we try and keep these things separate, and that's all well and good. But what happens when you have a member of your team that is normally very punctual, always attends meetings, will let you know in advance if they can't make a meeting, always does deadlines, and suddenly drops off the face of the planet? What do you do? How long do you wait? Now, you know roughly where they might be, hopefully. I mean, some of us travel and don't say anything, so maybe not. But maybe there's a natural disaster. I definitely know one client I had, and they said to me, I have an introvert member of staff. They were in a disaster area and lost their entire house, and I didn't know because they didn't tell me. And I said, that's not because they're an introvert, or maybe it is, but it's also because they're a virtual worker. For them to lose the house and still be online, because they need the money, they need to show that they're a reliable member of staff. Generally speaking, it's so much easier for virtual staff to lose the trust of people they're working for than it is for someone that they're sitting next to. So do you have a plan as someone who hires virtual employees? What I highly recommend is that you ask them, just like airlines do. Hey, do you have an emergency contact? If something happens and something happens to you and we'd just like to know because we care, who should we contact? Give us their contact details. That's it. That's all you need to do. And save them, file them away somewhere. The other thing that I've been told you can do is check someone's Facebook, because apparently you can see when they were last online or sent a message. Maybe if you have them on WhatsApp, it's a very good communication tool, but also, it generally tells you this person was last seen online at this time and this date. But that's just one side of it. The other side of it is, what if you have deliverables that you were relying on this person to help with or deal with? What do you do? Do you tell the client that you had a member of staff go missing, or do you just stumble along? You have to have a plan, a disaster plan, a tsunami plan, a volcano plan, whatever it might be. And I find that most small businesses and solopreneurs generally don't think about this. What happens if you get hit by a bus? Do you have insurance? Do you have income insurance? Do you have medical insurance? Do you have a way for other people to access your email account? Do you have a way for other people to access your Facebook? Had someone go, oh, well, I have LastPass. I'm like, yes, you have LastPass, but does anyone else have access to your LastPass? Because if not, then that's a moot point. So Gmail has a system where you can go in and look and assign people so that if something happens to you, they get access to your Gmail account. I highly recommend it should be maybe someone who's a little IT savvy, like making your grandma the owner of the account, probably not the best thing in the world. You can also do the same thing for Facebook. And I highly recommend you put these things in place now and tell those people that that's what you've done. There's nothing worse than them not realizing that they do have access to your Gmail account and can go in and do something if anything happens. The same goes for your insurance. If you are traveling and you get your travel insurance and it goes to your email address, that's great. But if you generally need your travel insurance or your medical insurance, you're probably not in a fit state to go and look at your email. Please make sure you email that information to somebody else. Preferably someone who speaks multiple languages is also really helpful, because there's nothing worse than getting a phone call in Russian or Spanish or Mandarin and no one knows what's going on. The main point of this episode is to let you think, what is your disaster plan? What if something happened? Would your business still carry on? As a freelancer, what would your clients do? Do they know what to do if something happens to you if they don't hear from you in 24 or 48 hours? And as someone who's an employee, did you give your contact details, your emergency contact details to your employer? Have you updated them recently because things happen? You might not be with the same partner. take these things into account and act on them. Do something about it before the end of this year. Thanks. This is Janice, the Career Introvert. Should you have any questions, please email me at janice@thecareerintrovert.com. And you can find me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, believe it or not. So thanks for listening. Let your introversion guide you. Don't let it define you.